Back in 2006, when I was at Shell, I had a boss approach me, and he asked me to go do a men's weekend. It was by an organization called the Mankind Project. The weekend was the New Warrior Training Adventure. I had a lot of appreciation and respect for this boss. He had done a lot for me. And he asked me not once, not twice, but 3 times to go do this men's weekend. The truth is, I didn't want to do this weekend. I didn't think that I needed a weekend. What am I going to get out of a men's weekend? I had been to almost hell and back. I had been divorced. That absolutely did not work out. That left me almost broke. Probably should have filed bankruptcy, but I didn't. I worked through huge financial hardships, huge emotional upsets, hardship. Moved back in with my mom for a little while, which was the absolute last place I ever wanted to be. Not that she and her husband wasn't welcoming and hospitable. They were unbelievable. But with my pride and where I was, I just didn't want to do that. But I did. And I spent the next several years just working and climbing my way out of all of that debt, and I succeeded. I got to where I wanted to get to, and financially I was kind of set, and more so reset. I was on my way. So there was that. I had grown up a skinny kid, asthma, no strength to speak of, and I'd put on a significant amount of muscle while optimizing or enhancing at least my health. I had just come a long way in a lot of areas. I was the type of guy that I'm just built for self-improvement. So I'd go to Barnes & Noble. We didn't have the beauty of YouTube at that time. And I would sit down and read a book, or books, half a day on a Saturday or Sunday. I'd get a coffee, which I love, and just get after it. My point is, so I'd read, I don't know how many books. I read the Bible cover to cover. My point is, I didn't need a men's weekend. What was the weekend going to do for me? I was on my way. I was taking action. I had the right mindset. I was reading all the best books, all the Rich Dad, Poor Dads, everything, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar. These are old school guys. Tony Robbins, did it a lot. I finally said yes to that weekend because I ran out of ways to say no. I did not know how to say no to my boss. I went on that weekend. It blew me away. It changed my life. And I've covered that in other videos in the past. The fact that these men brought me to a place I didn't know I could go. They showed me things about myself I didn't know were there. They brought me back to the 7-year-old Jody, the little boy inside of me, where I had curiosity, creativity, wonder, awe, excitement. They brought me back to a beautiful place. They brought me back to messaging that I picked up, right or wrong, that did not serve me well, that I carried around until that age, whatever it was, 36, 37 at the time. And just showed me things about myself I had no idea were going on. In that weekend, or on that weekend, I found clarity and connection like never before, and with that came confidence. I found passion and purpose for my life on that weekend. We created a mission statement, which I now call Outer Purpose. Beautiful and wonderful. But maybe most importantly in all that is I learned the power of circling up with intention with good, strong men. I know there's a lot of guys out there that say you don't need to talk, you don't need counseling, you don't need therapy, and I can appreciate that. I did so much on my own. I took so much action, and it served me so well. I can appreciate the message where guys are telling, perhaps older men especially, are telling the younger men, suck it up, take action, quit being a snowflake, get after it, man up, quit whining, all of that. I get it. But in addition to that, there is power in circling up, in sharing, getting out of head and into heart. There's just power, there's magic in getting with strong, powerful, centered men. Not to go wound worship, not to go cry about stuff for the next 5 years about what mommy or daddy or friends or bullies did or didn't do. But I got to tell you, there's absolute power and healing in doing that. especially for the first time. There's something about circles or something about leaning in with intention, with the right people, in being vulnerable. When that vulnerability is accepted, when the men, in this case, it can also be men and women, but we'll just talk men at this point, where the men actually lean in. Where when I open my mouth, and half the time me and the men that I do this with, we don't even know what's going to come out. But it's usually something that needs to be put into the light. And what we find is when you put something into the light, it tends to not survive. Whatever it is that's dark or dirty or less than desirable, typically that's something I don't want to tell these other men. But I'm comfortable in doing so in the sense that I trust these men. When I do that, it tends to not survive. It gets exposed to the light, it gets sanitized, and that's a beautiful thing. I tried to do so much in life, especially before that weekend, and I still have a tendency to do this on my own. I got this. I can do this. I can figure it out. And thousands of reps later, I put on the muscle, for example. But I've learned that that's the slower path. That is a path that's void of leverage. It's so much quicker and easier and more complete, more fulfilling when I do it with someone else. If I lean in and share, if I need help, if you need help on something, and there's somebody in that circle, face-to-face or Zoom virtual, by the way, they probably have been through what I've been through. And if they have, and they're on the other side of it, then they absolutely have credibility, competency, and care enough to give me what I need to hear. I say all that to say that that weekend was the first time where I had truly circled up with other men, centered, powerful men. Not perfect, but willing to do the inner work on themselves and help me do the inner work on myself. There's magic in that. That weekend changed my life for the better. That weekend gave me clarity on my life's purpose, and with that I found a path, and with that I started unlocking potential. That very first weekend set the tone and the forces in play to ultimately help me create what is now Thumos Coaching and School for Men, where I've gotten to help so many men and now women in the business sector. That one weekend has turned into hundreds of circles just via Thumos. I have no idea how many circles that the Mankind Project has put together, but it's thousands. Lots of circles just from Thumos, and I can say that because I personally attended 100 Zoom calls last year, and the year before, and the year before. And in every one of those Zoom calls, this is a virtual circle. It's not truly a circle, but it's figuratively a circle. We're sharing, and we bring up a topic that we're going to focus on, like how to show up as a more powerful leader, or how am I doing as a dad, or what's going on with my fitness, the stuff of fitness that we cover. Imagine the power when I share what's on my head and in my heart, when these other men share the same thing. Imagine the improvements that we're getting when we, by design, by intention, level up and upgrade. We share with each other. From there we get tactics, we get strategy, we get tools, we get wisdom, collective wisdom, and all of that every single week, just by simply showing up to a call. We do weekends in Thumos. We've done 12 weekends total now. Every weekend, my leaders say it's the best weekend they've ever had. Every single weekend. The smaller the weekend, the more customized, the more specialized towards each and every man. Imagine spending 2 hours on your personal life's mission, your big purpose, as it applies to your job. Are you in the right job? Is it utilizing your strengths? This is the kind of stuff we're doing on our weekend. How am I showing up for my wife? How are you showing up for God? We're going through all of that and much more. Breath work, meditation, contemplation, all of that on these weekends. We will do more weekends in 2025. They're by design done in nature. there's a lot of circle time. People who don't know what they don't know, they perhaps don't understand, and they perhaps smile, laugh, make fun of that. I don't know if anyone's make fun of us or not. It doesn't matter to me anymore. I'm 53, and I know what I'm doing is making an impact. I know because I hear this not only from the men but from their wives. I know because I hear this from the kids of the men who are coming through Thumos. They're writing their dad's notes, letters. Dad, you're not the same person ever since Thumos, etc., etc. And it's beautiful. I too once made fun of what I didn't understand. I too once would say, you're sitting in a circle, looks like a circle jerk. Only these are powerful men who are leaning in and doing the inner work. I'm a believer in doing the inner work for external greater impact. It just works. What's the number one I would tell men my age and younger? I'm 53, by the way. I tell them to do. Number one thing, best thing they can do the inner work. Period. End of story. Want to be a better leader in your business, at your job? Do the inner work. Imagine sitting across from a leader who has done the inner work, who knows how he shows up, why he shows up that way, knows his interest, his needs, his stressors, how he tends to act under stress. Imagine that. More importantly, imagine if that leader knows that about you. And there's tools to do that. Birkman, I think, is the best. Just got certified in Birkman, the Birkman Method. It's the best personal human performance diagnostic tool I've probably ever seen. Couple that with a handful of good, deep conversation and coaching questions. It's unbelievable what kind of potential we can unlock in these leaders. So folks, I don't know where you are in your journey, your inner work, your outer impact. My hope is that you found your big purpose, your calling for life, that you found a path in order to unlock it, and that you're realizing your potential. Even if you don't yet know what your potential is, I mean, who can possibly know what our potential is? You know, typically we know when we're not living out our full potential. And for me, and those like me, that's not a good feeling. We know there's more out there, more we can do. So we're either restless or not yet satisfied. And that's okay. As long as we don't give up on finding our true calling, our purpose in the path in order to unlock that potential. So wherever you are, my friends, consider finding you a circle, a tribe, a community, or if nothing else, one other person that you can lean into, lean in on, share what's on your mind and what's more importantly in your heart. Not just get a soft, comfortable reaction, comfort, there's a place for that, but also accountability, truth, questioning, which is coaching, it's questioning on why might you be doing that? What might be going on if you're feeling that? Where could that be coming from? Has it showed up before? Consider finding you a friend, a tribe, a community, a group that can help you with those areas. It's like therapy without a true therapist. It's okay to be a friend to somebody. We're all qualified to be a friend, to hold space, to hold energy for other people, to help other people. If you've been through a mess, a divorce, now you have a great marriage. You've been fat, now you're fit. You've raised kids halfway successfully. You have a mess that gives you credibility, that gives you a message and competence, and that gives you credibility to help other people. I would go so far as to say you have a responsibility to help other people because they need it. So friends, that's my message. If you stayed on this long, thank you. If you would do me a favor and like and comment connection in the bottom of this video, that helps feed the algorithms, gets this out in front of more people. It helps me grow this channel. And that's what I hope to do. I want to grow this channel. I want to be in mission, grow this channel in order to help more people, men and women, find their purpose, their path, their calling, live happier, more complete lives. So thank you. I have huge gratitude. I'll keep the content coming. Take care.